Good afternoon. It's Tuesday, August 7. I'm Vashon Brown with the Midday News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. The parliamentary opposition says it's bewildering and scandalous that a week after Dr. Andrew Wheatley resigned as Science and Technology Minister, a replacement is yet to be named. Dr. Wheatley resigned on July 30 in the wake of a scandal which rocked several agencies across the portfolios for which he had responsibility. Opposition spokesman on mining and energy Philip Paulwell says Prime Minister Andrew Holness needs to immediately fill the vacancy. He explains that the matter is urgent as staff members throughout the ministry are demoralized and there are issues with the various boards which remain unresolved.
It is really quite bewildering that we have such an important ministry of the government where there are issues surrounding boards, which boards do need to resign, membership of various executive levels in the ministry we find to be in need of replenishment, and there is no action by the Prime Minister. I think it is really quite scandalous, and I'm urging that the government now puts in place a minister to lead this ministry. The staff members throughout the ministry and the agencies are in a state of demoralization. They need to act now.
Mr. Paulwell says the opposition will continue to press the government on the matter, and he's predicting Jamaicans will soon run out of patience with the government.
We do expect that urgent action will be done during the course of this week. We just have to continue to make the call. I believe that the Jamaican people are taking note of what is happening, and they will have a say in this matter sooner than later.
Calls have been made for the Prime Minister to reconstitute the Energy, Science and Technology Ministry. Mr. Holness had moved the energy portfolio to his office following allegations of nepotism and corruption at the oil refinery Petrojam. The Nurses Association of Jamaica, NAJ, is appealing for the implementation of measures to improve the working conditions at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James. This is in the wake of the extended timeline for the completion of renovation at the facility. The hospital's Rehabilitation Oversight Committee last week announced that the project should now be completed next August. NAJ President Carmen Johnson says the association was hoping that it would have been completed this year, but she says the nurses understand the need for the extension. In an interview with our news centre, Ms. Johnson said the government also needs to improve conditions under which healthcare is offered in the interim.
Well, it has to do with the spaces that is presently occupied and the provision of lunch spaces and proper rest areas for the staff, while they seek to work in an area that though not conducive, but though they can do better, but at least to make it a bit more comfortable for them while they offer health care to the populace of St. James.
Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited KFTL reportedly lost $200,000 in revenue due to disruptions in its operations caused by the smoke from the Riverton disposal site in St. Andrew. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Carl Samuda, says this was the accumulated loss last week. In a statement this morning, Mr. Samuda said the KFTL has been affected by intermittent work stoppages as a result of poor visibility, which made it difficult to operate cranes and straddle carriers safely. He says about 6 to 10 workers were treated for respiratory ailments on each shift. The fire, which erupted at the Riverton disposal site on July 29, is suspected to have been started by arsonists. After it was extinguished on Tuesday, thick smoke lingered over several sections of the corporate area. The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, is discrediting claims made by opposition transport spokesman Michael Phillips that it is experiencing serious difficulty in paying its weekly fuel bill. In a statement released last week, Mr. Phillips said fuel prices are now higher than the JUTC's budget and the state-run entity could default on its payments. JUTC Corporate Communications Manager Cecil Toms told the TVJ News that the company is still able to sustain its financial obligations despite rising fuel prices. Two persons are dead following a motor vehicle accident along the White House Main Road in Westmoreland last night. It's understood that a 17-year-old girl is among those who died, while two teenagers have been hospitalized in serious condition. The deceased have been identified as 17-year-old Chrisson Perry and a 25-year-old Andre Lawrence, both of Petersville in Westmoreland. Reports said that about 8:30, Miss Perry and Mr. Lawrence were among a group of riders traveling on 5 motorcycles from the Bluefields Beach Park heading to White House. It's not clear how the crash happened, but 2 of the motorcycles collided with 2 motor cars traveling in the opposite direction. The injured persons were taken to the Black River Hospital, where Miss Perry and Mr. Lawrence were pronounced dead. The drivers of the motor cars were treated and released. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is calling for the increased use of technology to maximize agricultural production and the country's economic growth prospect. Here's TVJ's O'Shane Masters with more.
Agriculture is big business, and that's why Prime Minister Andrew Holness saw it fit to merge the Ministry of Industry and Commerce with the Ministry of Agriculture. The purpose of the move was to increase economic growth, but Mr. Holness laments that even though that has been done, there still isn't much growth in the economy.
About 56 years, it is estimated that 40 or so years of independence, we have had an average growth of somewhere in the region of just below 1% per year. That isn't classified really as growth. And Jamaica has to solve the growth conundrum in which we find ourselves.
Speaking at the annual Denby Agricultural Show in Clarendon yesterday, the Prime Minister expressed that for too long, agriculture has been taken for granted. With that, he is urging farmers, investors and other stakeholders to increase the use of technology in agriculture.
And applying technology to agriculture may not necessarily overcome the competitive economies of scale that larger countries have, but it can bring us to a point where our agriculture is economically viable and sustainable.
The Prime Minister has also called on the Jamaica Agricultural Society, JAS, to get more young people involved in agriculture. He says once this is done, then the government's plan of engaging in smarter agriculture will be realized.
I want to encourage the JAS, and in fact, the new president of the JAS, to encourage young people who are more attuned and have a greater affinity to technology, to encourage them into agriculture and encourage them to be innovative and to create a smarter kind of agriculture that will add more value to our natural resources, thereby increasing the pace of growth of the Jamaican economy.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
News overseas now. We go to the United States. The Mendocino complex fire is now considered the largest fire ever recorded in California. It nearly doubled in size since last Friday, growing about 80%. As of Monday evening, the fire had destroyed 75 homes and burnt more than 283,000 acres. The fire was only 30% contained.
Another fast-moving fire ignited on Monday. By the end of the day, the Holy Fire had already burned more than 4,000 acres in Orange County, California. As crews struggle to contain the Ferguson fire, parts of Yosemite National Park have been closed indefinitely.
We have fire that's impacting all of the main roads that are used to access Yosemite Valley.
We're working as best we can with the resources that we have to manage this, but Mother Nature has taken its course and we've needed to adapt to it.
More than 100 firefighters arrived Monday from Australia and New Zealand, coming overseas to help battle wildfires in California and in the Northwest. The most menacing fire in California continues to be the Mendocino Complex fire, a combination of 2 fires burning in Northern California around Clear Lake. On Monday, the acreage burned by that fire climbed above 283,000 acres, surpassing last year's Thomas Fire as the largest in Cal Fire history. Like many other people, the fire has left Jay Michael sleeping in the back of his van.
It's better than tent or cot.
This is the second time he's had to evacuate his home this season. Cal Fire said as of Monday evening, the Mendocino Complex fire was threatening to destroy more than 11,000 structures. That's in addition to more than 1,000 other buildings threatened by the Carr Fire, which has already caused so much damage in and around Redding, California.
And we go back to an item of local news now. Vendors are this evening counting their losses as fire destroyed the Railway Market on West Queen Street, downtown Kingston, early this morning. It's not clear at this time what caused the fire. However, the vendors are expressing frustration as the latest fire, has caused them a huge setback.
This fire tells only a smart part of the tale of a tragedy which transpired in the early hours of Tuesday morning at the Railway Market in downtown Kingston. Vendors came to see their stalls destroyed and their goods up in flames. It has left the vendors in dismay as some are just picking up the pieces after fire destroyed a section of a market last November. Some vendors say they are unsure of their next move.
The worst one this year. All the other days they never stay so, but this one worse, everything gone.
It's a every year thing. Last year November, now this year back to school, and every time when them fire ever come on way, especially back to school time, is a big setback. I'm not gonna tell you, like, especially if people have them kids, them have them one whole heap of goods down here like myself.
Superintendent in charge of the Kingston and St. Andrew Division of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Andrew Russell, says the fire was under control after 1 hour of rigorous work by over 40 firefighters.
We will be doing an assessment and we will commence investigation to determine how the fire started. I must also use the opportunity to commend our hard-working firefighters who were able to quickly control the blaze and also prevent it from spreading to nearby buildings.
And what about help for the vendors?
I can't get a guarantee now in terms of the kind of assistance they will get. The administration will have to deal with that. But I'm sure that whatever can be done will be done to assist them to get back. Our vendors really don't have insurance, and the facilities under which they operate it's kind of conducive to this kind of fire. So what the KSAC should be looking at now is to put in facilities which, whenever we have a fire, it doesn't create, well, it would have this,
right down.
The question is now, where will these vendors be located?
I'm not able to say so yet. We're going to be doing our assessment as fast as possible and speaking with them as well as the policymakers in council to make that decision.
I mean, they do understand that these vendors have, borrowed money to put in their goods, and so if they're forced to go on the roads, will police attack them?
That is a question that we also will have to look at. I understand that there are business processes going on and we don't want to hamper them because of a situation like this. So we'll have to find ways, means and measures to ensure that they are accommodated as best as possible.
Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And the time now for sports. It was a day of disappointment for CONCACAF teams at the FIFA Women's Under-20 World Cup in France as the United States and the debutants Haiti lost their opening matches of the tournament.
Haiti holds the distinction of being the first team from the Caribbean to qualify for the FIFA Women's Under-20 World Cup. But they will have to wait a little longer for their first win as China defeated them 2-1 in Group D action. Yu Ji-jiao gave the Chinese the lead in the 13th minute with a clever header from across from winger Ji Ki-huen. 23 seconds into the second half, Men Yu-shen doubled their lead to put the Chinese into a comfortable lead. But the Haitians didn't give up, and 11 minutes before time, they were awarded a penalty after a challenge was made on 14-year-old midfielder Melchi Dumene. The captain, Aurelia Mondessier, stepped up and scored Haiti's first goal at an Under-20 Women's World Cup. This goal gave the Haitians a lift as they searched for the equalizer, but Mondessier's effort was headed away from goal from China's captain Wang Linlin, and they held on for the 3 points. In the other game in Group D, three-time Under-20 World Cup winners Germany clipped Nigeria 1-0 thanks to a 69th minute goal from Stephanie Sanders. With this result, Germany secured their first victory over an African team at the Women's Under-20 World Cup since 2014. Group C action kicked off on Monday as European champion Spain defeated Paraguay 4-1. The FC Barcelona duo of Patricia Guijarro and Claudia Pina gave the Spaniards a 2-goal lead after 49 minutes. This lead was cut in half in minute 62 as Jessica Martinez was quick to react on the Spanish defense. But in a matter of seconds, Spain regained their 2-goal cushion as Captain Guijarro scored her second of the game. Guijarro was not done yet as she got her hat-trick deep into stoppage time to put herself on top in the Golden Boot race. Also in Group C, it was a rematch of the third-place playoff from the 2016 edition of this tournament as the United States hunted revenge after Japan edged them 1-0 2 years ago. However, it was the same scoreline as Honoko Hayashi got the all-important goal to send them to the top of the group with Spain. Action in the FIFA Women's Under-20 World Cup continues on Wednesday with 4 games. Reporting for TVJ Sports, I'm Simon Preston.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Vashon Brown. Join us at 7 for Primetime News Package. On behalf of the News, Sports and Production teams, have a good afternoon.